She escaped the bombs of Ukraine, only to be killed by silence on an American train. Tonight, we unravel a story that chills not because of its complexity, but because of its simplicity. A young woman, fleeing war and searching for safety, stepped onto a train in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Surveillance video shows the moment 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska boarded the CATS train at the East-West station. She sat down in front of a man identified by police as Decarlos Brown. 4 minutes later, he suddenly pulls out a knife and stabs her multiple times.
It left witnesses paralyzed with horror. But what makes this case truly haunting isn't just the crime itself, it's what it revealed about the man who carried out the attack. A man whose long trail of red flags had been ignored. A man broken by mental illness, released again and again into a society unwilling, or unable, to intervene. And a system that failed so completely, a refugee who outran war could not outrun its failures. This is the murder of Iryna Zarutska, a crime that shook America, sparked outrage worldwide, and left one harrowing question behind: how many warnings must we ignore before tragedy strikes?
I was like, really? Because I just wrote it like hours before. Like, I'd be on there all the time. I have had words with people, but never violent.
According to video, Brown then walked to the next car, wrapped his hand in a sweater, and left the train. An attack that's left some residents shocked.
Obviously, you get your few people here and there that may cause some type of concern. Like yesterday, I did get followed actually on the train, but I think that's unfortunately, that's normal for women.
And others not so surprised.
Well, I don't feel safe riding public transportation, but I gotta go to work.
Iryna Zarutska was just 23 years old. Born and raised in Ukraine, she had grown up with dreams like any young woman: travel, education, maybe one day a family. But when the Russian invasion shattered her hometown, she was forced to flee. She made her way to the United States, like thousands of other refugees, searching for safety and a new beginning. Those who knew her described her as kind, soft-spoken, and full of hope despite the hardships she carried. She found work, community, and was building a fragile sense of stability. For Iryna, the United States represented a sanctuary, a place where she could finally feel safe. But on the night of August 22, 2025, that sanctuary vanished. At 10 p.m., Iryna boarded the Lynx Blue Line, Charlotte's light rail train. Surveillance cameras show her entering the car, sitting quietly, scrolling through her phone. Just another passenger heading home. But behind her, another man stepped onto the train. His name, Decarlos Brown Jr. He sat down, just a few feet away. The footage is chilling in its ordinariness. For several minutes, nothing happens. No words exchanged. No confrontation. And then, without warning, Brown stands, pulls out a knife, and begins stabbing. The attack lasted seconds. Iryna never had a chance. Passengers screamed, scrambled, froze in disbelief. When the train came to a halt, the police rushed in. Brown was arrested on the spot. It seemed like an open and shut case, a senseless murder, caught on camera, the killer in custody. But the truth was far darker, and far more complicated. Decarlos Brown Jr. was 34 years old, with a long criminal record stretching back over a decade. Assault. Burglary. Weapons charges. But his history was more than just crime. Brown suffered from severe mental illness, including schizophrenia. He had been in and out of treatment facilities, repeatedly arrested, repeatedly released. Time and again, his behavior had raised red flags. He threatened strangers. He ranted on street corners. He had outbursts that should have kept him under close supervision. Yet over and over, the system failed to hold him. In fact, just months before Iryna's murder, Brown had been arrested and released under a system of cashless bail. Mental health advocates warned he was dangerous, but nothing was done. So when he boarded that train, knife in hand, it wasn't a random tragedy. It was the final link in a long, predictable chain of negligence. News of the murder spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed, "Ukrainian refugee killed in random attack." Videos of the incident, though too graphic to show in full, circulated online, shocking viewers with the sheer brutality. Public officials scrambled to respond. Governor Josh Stein called the murder appalling, promising new safety measures and funding for law enforcement. But his words did little to calm the outrage. For the Ukrainian community, the pain was unbearable. Here was a young woman who had escaped the chaos of war, only to die in what was supposed to be her refuge.
Dozens of family members and friends attended Iryna's funeral Wednesday here in Huntersville. Her obituary says she had a deep love for animals and wanted to be a veterinary assistant. Zarutska's obituary calls her a gifted and passionate artist who shared her creativity generously, gifting family and friends with her artwork. She loved sculpting and designing unique, eclectic clothing. An online fundraiser has been started to help support the family.
Advocates asked, how could America fail to protect her? And for many in Charlotte, the case highlighted a larger fear. If this could happen to her, on a public train, in plain sight, it could happen to anyone. The murder quickly became more than just a crime story, it was a debate. A debate about mental health. About criminal justice. About the failures of both. Critics pointed to the justice system's decision to release Brown despite his long history. Others focused on the lack of support for mental health treatment, arguing that he was a product of neglect as much as violence. Why was a man with known schizophrenia, a record of violence, and multiple arrests allowed to roam free, untreated, and armed? The case forced the public to confront a brutal truth. Iryna's death wasn't just at Brown's hands, it was at the hands of a system that saw the warning signs and looked away. As the case gained national attention, it became fuel for political fire. Former President Donald Trump used the murder as an example of America's crime crisis, calling for sweeping law enforcement crackdowns.
I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
Social media exploded with anger, grief, and bitter political arguments. But at the center of it all was still Iryna, a young woman whose life was reduced to a symbol. For safety. For failure. For political gain. When investigators dug deeper into Brown's past, the horror grew. He had been flagged as a danger multiple times. Judges, officers, psychiatrists, they all saw the pattern. Yet none of the warnings stopped the cycle. Each arrest led to release. Each breakdown was followed by freedom. Each violent act was brushed aside until the violence could no longer be ignored. And so, when he sat behind Iryna on that train, the truth was simple: her death had been preventable. Iryna's body was flown back to Ukraine for burial. Her family, devastated, spoke out publicly, describing their disbelief that she had survived war only to die in America. Vigils were held in Charlotte, candles flickering against the dark as the community mourned. In Ukraine, her story spread quickly, another reminder of the dangers refugees face, even far from the front lines. To many, it felt like fate itself had betrayed her. In the weeks following the murder, Charlotte officials faced mounting pressure. The Transit Authority promised more security officers. Lawmakers proposed stricter bail laws. Mental health advocates demanded real reform. But beneath the political noise, the core question lingered: can any of this undo what happened? Can policy changes heal the wound left by one woman's senseless death? For many, the answer is no. Because the truth is, once again, the system acted too late. The murder of Iryna Zarutska isn't just about a single crime. It's about the cracks in a system that failed both victim and killer. A system that ignored the warnings, gambled with safety, and lost. Iryna's story forces us to ask, when someone like Decarlos Brown shows every sign of danger, do we have the courage to act before the knife is drawn? Or will we, once again, wait until it's too late? Because in the end, the question isn't whether justice will be served. It's whether justice could have been prevented. Haunting takeaway: she survived war. She survived exile. But she could not survive the silence of a broken system. And if nothing changes, the haunting truth is this: she will not be the last. If you find this story chilling, make sure you click the like button, comment, and subscribe to Dark Crime Chronicles. Thank you once again for watching.